Camacho for the plaintiff. May it please the court? Your honors, opposing counsel, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, forensics do not lie. People do. August 18, 2010. Jessie Duran, sitting in her home up early that day, couldn't sleep much. She's excited. She's excited because she can't wait to play with her neighbor's gun. 7:15 a.m., Jessie Duran is searching recoil pistol on her iPhone. 3 minutes later, she's looking up how to load a revolver. An hour later, Jessie texts her friend next door, can't wait to see it, but her friend isn't so sure. Her friend, 11-year-old Sydney Park, tells her, I'm kind of wishing I hadn't told you that. 45 minutes later, Jessie Duran is already next door at her friend's house. Her mom texts her as she's leaving. Jessie, real guns are dangerous and you need to stay away from them. I just want to make sure no one gets hurt. Because Hayden Duran, the parent of Jessie Duran, had only found out that the Parks had a gun the night before. Now it's 9:30 a.m. Jessie Duran and Sydney Park decided to play a game, the most dangerous kind of game. A game where Jessie Duran gets her hands on a gun. Less than 15 minutes later, Jessie Duran picks up that gun, spins the cylinder, aims it at Sydney Park's head, pulls the trigger, and shoots Sydney Park. You might ask yourselves, how could Jessie Duran do this? How could one 11-year-old child shoot another? Dr. Emerson Couples will come before you and explain to you the evidence she found leading her to diagnose Jessie Duran as a psychopath. And that psychopaths have been known to kill for thrills. Now, psychopaths aren't some sort of delusional maniacs. They can perceive and rationalize like you and me. The only thing they lack is empathy. Something that Terry Chapin will be able to confirm. Because when Terry Chapin was awoken by the gunshot that killed Sydney Park, she rushed into the Parks home and saw Jessie Duran standing by the gun, emotionless, expressionless, and distant. Now the defense will come before you and try and say that this was all just a big accident. But as we know, forensics do not lie. People do. We as a plaintiff are going to prove that Jessie Duran intentionally shot Sydney Park. And we have to show and prove our evidence by a preponderance of the evidence, which means simply more likely than not, by as little as 50% and a feather's weight. And there are 4 separate elements that need to be proved in order to show Jessie Duran intentionally shot Sydney. 2 of those are not being contested. No one is contesting that Hayden Duran had the custody and control over Jessie Duran. And because Sydney Park is dead, nobody's contesting harm on behalf of the Parks family. So that leaves us with just 2 things left to prove. That Jessie Duran committed an act of willful misconduct, meaning under Midland Civil Code, we have to prove that Jessie Duran had the knowledge that pulling the trigger to that loaded gun was likely to result in the gun firing. Something crime scene investigator Jules Sebastian will be able to share is that Jessie Duran had her right arm fully extended completely away from her body when she shot Sydney Park, and that the only fingerprints to be found on the bullet casings that killed Sydney Park matched Jessie Duran. Next, we have to prove that the harm suffered by the Parks family was a direct and proximate result of the willful misconduct by Jessie Duran. Now, crime scene investigator Jules Sebastian will also be able to share that Sydney Park was shot in the head just above her left eye, and that if not for Jessie Duran pulling the trigger to that loaded gun, Sydney Park would still be alive with us today. Because forensics do not lie. People do. At the end of closing arguments, my co-counsel Dylan Ballback will come before you and ask that you find the defendant, Hayden Duran, liable.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho. Take a couple of minutes before you start to make some comments. You want to make some comments?
Actually, does anyone have an extra pen?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's what I forgot to ask. Pardon me.
Thank you.
I forgot to ask, that's my fault. Very good. I'm very good presiding judge here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, box back, or sheet before you can just
That's
take a
wrong.
couple of seconds.